8 Alchemical Laws of Energetic Resonance for Attracting Wealth. The Resonance Gap. Why? Why do so many spiritual, intelligent, and dedicated individuals, people just like you, practice the art of manifestation, visualize success, repeat their affirmations, and still find themselves standing on the wrong side of a vast chasm? A chasm that separates them from the financial abundance they so deeply desire. They are doing the work. They are thinking the positive thoughts. Yet the bank account remains stagnant. The opportunities remain elusive. The anxiety remains a quiet, unwelcome companion. It is because they have been given a map with the most critical destination missing. They are missing the critical step of becoming a true, vibrational match for abundance. What you have just felt is what I call the resonance gap. It is the painful space between what you say you want and what your energy is silently declaring to the universe. And closing this gap is the single most important work you will ever do on your journey to wealth. This is not another guide about simply thinking positive. This is a deep exploration into the subtle, scientific and spiritual art of energetic resonance. We will move beyond the surface and journey into the quantum mechanics of your emotional state, into the frequency of your very being. Over the course of our time together, you will receive the 8 alchemical laws that govern this process. These are not tricks or hacks. They are immutable principles, as real as gravity. You will learn how to identify your current money vibration, how to calibrate it, how to dissolve the energetic static of guilt and shame, and how to align your actions with the effortless flow of universal abundance. The goal is simple, and it is profound: to transform you into a finely tuned instrument, resonating so perfectly with the frequency of wealth that it has no choice but to find you. You will stop chasing, and you will begin to attract. This is the promise of alchemy: to turn the lead of your inner struggle into the pure gold of your outer reality. So take a deep breath. Settle into this space. Your journey into the heart of resonance begins now. Chapter 1. Beyond Positive Thinking, the Quantum Nature of Abundance. Let us begin by dismantling a myth, a well-intentioned but ultimately incomplete idea that has led countless seekers astray: the myth that positive thinking alone will make you wealthy. You've been told to simply think rich thoughts, to visualize checks in the mail, to banish every negative thought about money that enters your mind. And while the intention is pure, the application is flawed. It's like trying to grow a magnificent garden by only focusing on the flowers, while ignoring the quality of the soil beneath. The soil, in our alchemical metaphor, is your energetic resonance, your vibrational frequency. It is the cumulative, subtle, and often subconscious broadcast of your inner state. It is the sum total of your beliefs, your emotions, your memories, and your expectations. And this broadcast, my friend, is what the universe truly responds to. Not just the fleeting words you say, but the deep, resonant truth of who you are being. I remember a client I worked with years ago, a brilliant architect named Marcus. He had vision boards plastered with images of mansions and luxury cars. He recited wealth affirmations for an hour every single morning. On paper, he was a model student of the law of attraction. But his business was constantly on the verge of collapse. "Elias," he told me, his voice tight with frustration, "I'm doing everything right. Why isn't it working?" The problem wasn't in his affirmations. It was in the silent frequency humming beneath them, a frequency of deep-seated fear that he would end up like his father, who lost everything. He was affirming abundance, but he was resonating with lack. And the universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, always responds to the deeper song. This is the first alchemical law of resonance. The universe responds to your frequency, not your words. Think of yourself as a broadcasting tower. Every moment of every day, you are emitting a signal into the quantum field. The quantum field is the invisible sea of infinite potential that connects everything. It is the raw material from which all matter, all experiences are formed. Modern physics has shown us that at the most fundamental level, everything is energy. Everything is vibrating. There is no solidity. There is only information and frequency. Your thoughts are part of this broadcast, yes, but they are just one layer. Beneath your thoughts are your emotions, and emotions are far more powerful broadcasters. An emotion is quite literally energy in motion. A single, deeply felt emotion of gratitude, of joy, of peace, sends out a signal 1,000 times more powerful than a half-heartedly repeated affirmation. This is why thinking positive can sometimes feel like a battle. You're trying to force a happy thought while your body is vibrating with the energy of anxiety, doubt, or unworthiness. It's a state of internal conflict, a dissonant chord, and the universe, hearing this messy signal, can only reflect that inner chaos back to you in the form of inconsistent and frustrating results. So, what is the alternative? It isn't to suppress negative thoughts. That's impossible, and it only creates more resistance. The alchemical approach is to shift our focus from managing thoughts to cultivating a state of being. We're not trying to change what we think. We are transforming who we are on an energetic level. This brings us to the second alchemical law. Resonance is the product of alignment, not effort. Imagine two tuning forks. If you strike one, and the other is tuned to the same frequency, it will begin to vibrate in sympathy without ever being touched. This is called sympathetic resonance. It doesn't happen through force. It happens through alignment. The frequency of abundance already exists in the universe. It is a vibration of flow, of ease, of sufficiency, of creative power, of generous expansion. It is not something you need to create. It is something you must align with. Your job is not to push the river. It is to remove the dams of your own resistance so you can float in its current. These dams are your limiting beliefs, your unprocessed emotional wounds, your ancestral stories about money, and the spiritual guilt so many of us carry. They create energetic static. They disrupt your signal. They cause you to vibrate at a frequency of lack, of struggle, of not enough, even as your mouth speaks words of prosperity. This is the journey we are on together. Not to fight your reality, but to understand that your reality is a perfect, non-judgmental mirror of your dominant resonance. If you don't like the reflection, trying to smash the mirror is futile. The only path is to change the object being reflected, to change your inner vibrational state. So if you've ever felt like a fraud while repeating, "I am a money magnet," it's because a part of you knew it wasn't the whole truth. Your conscious mind was saying one thing, but your subconscious energy, your emotional body, was vibrating with another. The real work is in bringing these two into harmony, into coherence. Let go of the need to be endlessly, toxically positive. Instead, embrace the goal of becoming radically honest. Honest about the frequency you are truly emitting. because it is only from this place of raw honesty that we can begin the alchemical work of tuning, of calibration, of becoming a clear, resonant match for the abundance that is, and has always been your birthright. In the next chapter, we will move from this foundational understanding to the practical work of identifying your own unique money vibration. We will learn to listen, not with our ears, but with our entire being, to the subtle song your energy is singing to the universe. Chapter 2. The Tuning Fork of Emotion. Identifying your true money vibration before an alchemist can transform lead into gold. They must first understand the true nature of lead. They must know its weight, its texture, its properties. In the same way, before you can transform a frequency of lack into a frequency of abundance, you must first become intimately aware of the frequency you are currently broadcasting. This is not a step to be rushed. This is the diagnostic phase of our great work. The third alchemical law of resonance states, self-awareness is the precursor to self-mastery. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. So how do you feel an energetic frequency? The answer is both simple and profound, through your emotions. Your emotions are the physical interpretation of your vibration. They are the body's way of telling you what energetic channel you are tuned into. Anxiety, dread, and constriction are the sensations of a low-frequency, lack-based broadcast. Peace, expansion, and excitement are the sensations of a high-frequency, abundance-based broadcast. Your feelings about money are the most accurate diagnostic tool you possess. They are your personal tuning fork. I want you to engage in a thought experiment with me right now. It's a simple process of self-inquiry. Don't judge the answers. Don't try to change them. Simply observe. Your only job is to be the curious scientist of your own inner world. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed for a moment. Close your eyes if that feels right for you. Take a deep, slow breath in and release it fully. Now, I want you to bring the concept of money into your mind. Just the word, money. What is the very first feeling that arises in your body? Before the thoughts, before the stories, just feel. Is there a tightening in your chest? A clenching in your stomach? A sense of heaviness in your shoulders? Or is there a feeling of lightness? Of excitement, of calm? Let's go deeper. Imagine you have to check your bank account balance right now. As you picture yourself logging in, what is the dominant emotion? Is it fear, dread, hope mixed with anxiety? Or is it a calm sense of knowing and sufficiency? Again, no judgment, just awareness. This feeling is a direct reading of your current money vibration. Now imagine receiving an unexpected bill in the mail, a large one. Feel that scenario in your body. Notice the physical sensations, the racing heart, the shallow breath. That feeling of panic or contraction is the frequency of scarcity. It's a powerful signal you're broadcasting. Finally, let's shift the focus. Imagine an unexpected check arrives in the mail, a significant amount of money, more than enough to cover your needs and desires. Feel that scenario? Does your body relax? Does a wave of relief wash over you? Does a smile touch your lips? Do you feel a sense of expansion of possibility? This feeling, this is the frequency of abundance. This is the state we aim to cultivate, not as a fleeting reaction, but as a sustained, dominant state of being. This simple exercise reveals more than years of positive thinking ever could. It bypasses the conscious mind and speaks directly to the subconscious emotional body, which is the true source of your energetic broadcast. The tension you feel is energetic resistance. The peace you feel is energetic alignment. This brings us to the fourth alchemical law. Your body is the barometer of your resonance. Your mind can lie to you. It can tell you that you are worthy of wealth, while your nervous system is screaming that you are in danger. Your body, however, cannot lie. Its language is the language of sensation, and it is always telling you the truth about your vibrational state. For many years, I worked with a woman, an artist named Clara. She was immensely talented, but perpetually broke. She told me she had a great money mindset, that she believed in abundance. But when we did this exercise, the moment I mentioned the word invoice, her hands would begin to sweat, and she would feel a knot in her throat. Her body was revealing a truth her mind was hiding, a deep subconscious association between asking for money and the fear of rejection or not being good enough. Her body was resonating with unworthiness. No amount of positive thinking about her art's value could override that powerful physical broadcast of fear. The work for her wasn't about affirming her worth. It was about healing the somatic bodily wound that made her feel unworthy in the first place. Your task in this phase of the journey is to become a master of your own internal landscape, to become fluent in the language of your body. Throughout your day, begin to notice your emotional reactions to financial triggers. When you pay for groceries, what is the feeling? Is it a feeling of resentful depletion or of grateful circulation? When you see someone else's success, what is the feeling? Is it the sharp sting of envy or the genuine joy of inspiration? When you think about your financial goals, what is the feeling? Is it the heavy weight of impossibility or the light-filled excitement of creation? Each of these feelings is a data point. Each one is a clue, showing you the exact frequency you are tuned to in that moment. Do not be discouraged if what you find is uncomfortable. In fact, if you feel discomfort, it is a cause for celebration. It means you are finally becoming aware of the lead that you can now begin to transmute. You have located the source of the dissonant frequency. You have found the strings on your instrument that are out of tune. The goal is not to never feel fear or anxiety about money again. The goal is to not let those feelings be your default state, to not let them be the home frequency from which you operate. We want to shorten their duration, lessen their intensity, and learn to consciously and quickly return to a state of calm, centered resonance. This practice of mindful self-observation is the foundation upon which all true transformation is built. You are no longer unconsciously broadcasting a signal of lack. You are now a conscious operator of your own energetic instrument. And with this awareness, you now have the power to choose a different song. In the next chapter, we will learn exactly how to begin that process of recalibration. Chapter 3. Calibrating your inner. Magnet, the subtle art of emotional tuning. Now that you have learned to identify the frequency you are broadcasting, we arrive at the heart of the alchemical process, the work of recalibration. This is where we consciously and deliberately begin to tune our inner instrument to resonate with the frequency of abundance. This process is not about brute force. It is not about pretending you don't feel what you feel. That is suppression, and it is the enemy of resonance. True calibration is a subtle art. It is the practice of gently, consistently, and lovingly guiding your emotional state back to a place of peace, worthiness, and trust. This introduces the fifth alchemical law of resonance: what you soothe. You can transform. When a string on a violin is out of tune, you don't fix it by yanking on it violently. You make small, precise adjustments. You listen. You adjust again. It is a dance of attention and intention. The same is true for your emotional body. When you feel the familiar clench of financial anxiety, the first step is not to fight it. It is to soothe it. Imagine that feeling of anxiety is a small, frightened child within you. Yelling at it to be positive will only make it more terrified. Instead, you must turn toward it with compassion. You place a hand on your heart or your stomach, wherever you feel the tension, and you breathe into it. You silently say to that feeling, "I see you. I feel you. Thank you for trying to protect me. But right now, in this moment, we are safe." This act of acknowledgement and acceptance is profoundly powerful. It stops the cycle of resistance. Resistance is what amplifies a negative emotion. When you resist anxiety, you create more anxiety about your anxiety. When you accept it, you allow the energy to move. You are no longer fighting your own vibration. You are tending to it. This practice of emotional soothing is the first and most crucial step in calibration. Only once the nervous system begins to calm can you introduce a new, more harmonious frequency. So how do we introduce this new frequency? We do it by focusing on what I call adjacent feelings. It is often too great a leap to go from a state of deep fear directly to ecstatic joy. The vibrational gap is too wide. It feels inauthentic, and your system will reject it. The key is to reach for the next best feeling, thought, or emotion that you can genuinely access. If you are feeling hopeless about your debt, the adjacent feeling might not be "I am limitlessly abundant." It might simply be neutrality. It might be the thought, "Okay, this is the situation right now. It is just numbers on a page. I am breathing. I am still here." From neutrality, you might be able to reach for a sliver of hope. People have overcome worse than this. There might be a solution I haven't seen yet. From hope, you can then begin to climb the emotional ladder towards optimism, belief, and eventually a state of knowing. This is the art of emotional tuning. It is the conscious choice to find a thought that feels slightly better and to rest your attention there. A client of mine, a freelance writer named Sarah, was trapped in a feast or famine cycle that caused her immense stress. When she was in a famine period, her panic was so overwhelming that affirmations felt like lies. So we developed a new practice. When she felt the panic rise, her only job was to find just one thing in her life that felt stable and secure. Sometimes it was her relationship with her partner. Sometimes it was her health. Sometimes it was just the fact that she had coffee in her cupboard for the morning. She would focus all her attention on the feeling of that one secure thing. The gratitude for it, the solidity of it. This wouldn't magically make a client appear in that instant, but what it did was profound. It stopped the downward spiral of her panic. It shifted her from a frequency of desperate lack to a frequency of gentle gratitude. And from that calmer, more coherent frequency, she was able to think more clearly, see opportunities she had previously missed, and broadcast a signal of confidence rather than desperation. Over time, this small, consistent practice of recalibration smoothed out her income cycle entirely. This leads us to the sixth alchemical law. Consistency in calibration creates a new set point. Your goal is not a momentary peak experience of feeling abundant. Your goal is to change your default emotional state, your energetic home base, This is achieved through small, consistent acts of tuning throughout your day. Think of it like training a muscle. Every time you notice a fear-based emotion and consciously choose to soothe it and reach for a slightly better feeling, you are performing a repetition. You are strengthening your capacity to hold a higher vibration. Here are some practical tools for this daily calibration. The gratitude anchor. At any point in your day, especially when feeling stressed, pause and identify 3 things you can see right now that you are genuinely grateful for. The key is to move beyond the mental list and actually feel the gratitude in your body. Feel the warmth, the appreciation. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies you can embody. The wouldn't it be nice game. When you feel stuck in a problem, allow yourself to gently ask, wouldn't it be nice if a solution just appeared? Wouldn't it be nice if this all worked out easily? This is a soft, non-resistant way to introduce the energy of possibility without triggering the cynical mind that might scream, that's impossible. The Resonance Library. Create a personal collection of things that instantly make you feel good. A specific song, a beautiful image, a happy memory, a funny video. These are your vibrational tuning forks. When you feel your energy dip, consciously engage with something from your library for just 2 or 3 minutes. This is not escapism. It is strategic energetic management. This work is subtle. Its effects are cumulative. You might not see a dramatic shift overnight, but day by day, as you practice this inner art, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are teaching your body that it is safe to feel good, that it is safe to feel prosperous. You are raising your energetic set point, ounce by ounce. You are moving from being a victim of your emotional weather to becoming the calm, conscious creator of your inner climate. And as your inner climate changes, the outer world, in obedience to the law of resonance, must inevitably begin to reflect that new, more beautiful, and far more abundant reality. Chapter 4. The Alchemy of Worthiness. Dissolving the energetic blocks of guilt and shame. We have now arrived at the deepest layer of our alchemical work. We must address the densest, heaviest material that disrupts our resonant signal, the energetic blocks of unworthiness, guilt and shame around money. You can practice every technique we've discussed, but if, at your core, you do not feel worthy of receiving abundance, you will subconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. You will repel the very wealth you are consciously trying to attract. Feeling unworthy is like trying to broadcast a clear radio signal from inside a lead-lined room. The signal simply cannot get out. This is the 7th alchemical law, and it is perhaps the most important. You can only receive what you subconsciously believe you deserve. This sense of unworthiness is often not logical. It is an ancient emotional wound. It can stem from childhood messages that money is the root of all evil, or that wanting more is greedy. It can come from a spiritual belief that poverty is somehow more holy than prosperity. It can be an inherited ancestral trauma passed down through generations who experienced deep scarcity. I once worked with a man, a very successful software engineer who could not hold on to money. He would earn a 6-figure salary, and by the end of the year it would be gone through a series of bad luck events: a broken car, a sudden home repair, a poor investment. He was brilliant, but his financial life was chaos. Through our work, we uncovered the source. He grew up in a family where his father, a struggling artist, constantly disparaged rich people as being heartless and corrupt. Subconsciously, my client had created a devastating equation. To be wealthy is to be a bad person. To be a good person, I must not be wealthy. His subconscious mind, in its desire to keep him good, was orchestrating the disappearance of his money to protect him from his own deep-seated fear of becoming what his father hated. His problem was not a spending problem. It was a worthiness problem. He did not feel he deserved to be both good and wealthy. So how do we dissolve these dense blocks? We do so through the alchemical fires of forgiveness and conscious reframing. The first step is to bring the belief into the light. You must identify the specific stories you tell yourself about money and morality. Take out a journal and complete these sentences with the first thought that comes to mind. People with a lot of money are usually wanting a lot of money makes me feel. If I became very wealthy, my family would. Spirituality and wealth are, be brutally honest. The words you write are the blueprints of your current resonance. They are the source of the static. Once you have identified these beliefs, the next step is not to fight them, but to question them with gentle curiosity. Ask yourself, is this belief absolutely true? Can I find evidence to the contrary? Can you think of wealthy people who are generous and kind? Can you imagine how much more good you could do in the world with more resources? Can you see that money is simply energy, a neutral tool that amplifies the intention of the person who wields it? This questioning begins to loosen the grip of the old belief. It creates space for a new, more empowering story to be written. The most powerful tool for dissolving the emotional charge of these old stories is the practice of forgiveness. This includes forgiving those who may have taught you these limiting beliefs. They were likely just passing on what they were taught, operating from their own level of awareness and fear. Forgive them for not knowing better, and most importantly, you must forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the financial mistakes you have made. Forgive yourself for the opportunities you missed. Forgive yourself for believing you were not worthy. Every decision you have ever made was based on the knowledge and resources you had at the time. You did the best you could. A powerful ritual for this is the forgiveness ledger. Take 2 sheets of paper. On the first, write down every financial mistake or failure that you hold against yourself. Every bad investment, every moment of irresponsible spending, every time you undercharged for your services. Write it all down. Feel the shame, the regret. Let it come to the surface. Then, when you are done, I want you to take that piece of paper and safely burn it or tear it into tiny pieces. As you do, consciously and verbally release the energy. Say, I forgive myself completely. I release the past. My worth is not defined by these events. I'm free. Now, on the second sheet of paper, write a new ledger. Title it My Inherent Worth. On this sheet, list your qualities that have nothing to do with money. Your kindness, your creativity, your resilience, your love, your unique gifts. This is the truth of who you are. This is the source of your true wealth. Read this list aloud. Feel its truth resonate in your heart. This is not just a psychological exercise. It is an energetic clearing. You are consciously transmuting the dense energy of shame into the light, high-frequency energy of self-love and acceptance. You are cleaning the lead-lined room. If this feels like a deep and ongoing journey, that's because it is. If you find this part of the process particularly challenging, it's a sign that you have found a significant block. And this is wonderful news, because a block is just concentrated energy. And when you release it, all of that energy becomes available to you for creation. It becomes the fuel for your new reality. Remember, abundance is not a reward for being perfect. It is a reflection of feeling worthy. You are not required to earn your worthiness. You were born with it. The work of the alchemist is simply to remember this fundamental truth and to dissolve all the stories and energies that have ever told you otherwise. A short, reflective musical pause. If you are finding this journey transformative, and you feel this is a message someone you know needs to hear, I encourage you to pause for a moment and share this guide with them. The act of sharing wisdom is itself an act of abundance, sending a ripple of prosperity out into the world. Now let us continue. Chapter 5. The Resonance Ritual. Grounding your abundance. Frequency in daily practice. Theory is illuminating, but it is in practice that we alchemize our reality. An intellectual understanding of resonance is not enough. You must embody it. You must make it a living, breathing part of your daily existence. To do this, we anchor our desired frequency through consistent, intentional rituals. A ritual is not just a routine. A routine is something you do. A ritual is something you become while you are doing it. It is a sacred space in time where you consciously align your energy, your intention, and your action. Creating a daily resonance ritual is the most powerful way to make the frequency of abundance your new energetic set point. This is the foundation for the 8th and final alchemical law of resonance. Embodiment is the final act of creation. Your ritual does not need to be long or complicated. In fact, simplicity and consistency are far more powerful than complexity and inconsistency. A potent resonance ritual can be done in just 10 to 15 minutes, ideally in the morning, before the noise of the world floods your consciousness. The morning is a sacred time. Your mind is more receptive, and you have the opportunity to set the energetic tone for your entire day. I will share with you a simple 4-step structure for a powerful morning resonance ritual. Feel free to adapt it and make it your own. The power is in the feeling it generates, not in the rigid adherence to a script. Step 1. Stillness, 2 to 3 minutes. Begin by simply being still. Sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Don't try to force anything. Just observe the gentle rhythm of your inhale and exhale. The purpose of this step is to quiet the static of the analytical mind. You are moving from the chaotic beta brainwave state of waking life into the calmer, more receptive alpha state. You are creating a clear channel for your intention. Step 2. Calibration. 3 to 5 minutes. This is where you bring in the emotional tuning we discussed earlier. Bring to mind something or someone you are deeply and genuinely grateful for. It could be a loved one, a pet, the sun on your face, the comfort of your bed. Do not just think the thought. Immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude. Let that warm, expansive feeling fill your entire body. Let it saturate every cell. Gratitude is the master key to a high vibration. It is the frequency of already having. When you are in a state of gratitude, you cannot simultaneously be in a state of lack. They are mutually exclusive frequencies. Stay with this feeling, amplifying it with each breath. Step 3. Vision and vibration. 3 to 5 minutes. Now that you have established a high-frequency state, it is time to gently introduce your intention. But we are not going to visualize getting money. That implies you don't have it. Instead, you are going to visualize the feeling state that abundance provides you. What does financial freedom feel like in your body? Is it the feeling of profound peace, of exhilarating freedom, of deep security, of joyful generosity? Choose one core feeling. Now imagine a scenario that embodies this feeling. Perhaps it's the feeling of walking into a store and buying something you desire without looking at the price tag, feeling only ease and sufficiency. Perhaps it's the feeling of making a large, joyful donation to a cause you believe in. Perhaps it's simply the feeling of waking up in the morning with zero financial anxiety, feeling utterly safe and provided for. Do not focus on the details of how it happens. Focus entirely on the somatic emotional experience. Feel the peace in your solar plexus. Feel the freedom in your open chest. Feel the security in your grounded feet. You are rehearsing the feeling of your future reality. You are teaching your body what this new resonance feels like, so it can recognize and attract the corresponding experiences. Step 4. Embodiment, 2 to 3 minutes. This final step is crucial for grounding the energy. Before you open your eyes and step into your day, set a single, simple intention. Today, I will look for evidence of abundance. This primes your subconscious mind to act as a filter, scanning your environment for proof that your desired reality is already beginning to manifest. It shifts you from a mindset of, I hope this happens, to, I know this is happening and I'm watching for the signs. This evidence might not be a lottery win. It might be finding a coin on the street. It might be a friend treating you to coffee. It might be receiving an unexpected compliment or a sudden creative idea. Acknowledge every single one of these things, no matter how small, as proof that you are in the flow. Say a silent thank you. This creates a powerful feedback loop of positive reinforcement, strengthening your belief and your resonance. This simple 4-step ritual, practiced daily, will do more to transform your financial reality than years of struggle and hustle. Why? Because you are starting your day by aligning with the cause, not chasing the effect. You are becoming the alchemist who tunes their inner world first, knowing with unshakable faith that the outer world must, by law, follow suit. I had a client, a small business owner named David, who was constantly stressed, working 80-hour weeks just to stay afloat. He adopted this simple ritual. For the first 2 weeks, nothing much changed on the outside, but he reported feeling calmer, more centered. In the 3rd week, something shifted. He had a sudden insight to slightly change his marketing message. It was a small tweak, but it was an inspired idea that came from a place of calm, not panic. That new message connected with clients in a way his old, desperate messaging never could. Within 2 months, his income had doubled, and he was working less. He didn't work harder. He resonated higher. His ritual tuned him to a frequency where inspired solutions could finally reach him. This is the power of grounding your practice. It makes abundance a part of your identity, not just a goal you are chasing. Chapter 6. From Hustle to Flow, the Physics of Inspired Action. There is a common and dangerous misconception in the world of manifestation. The idea that if you just sit on your cushion and vibrate correctly, a suitcase full of money will magically appear on your doorstep. This passive approach is an incomplete understanding of the creative process. Resonance is the engine, but action is the steering wheel. However, not all action is created equal. There is a world of difference between the frantic, exhausting energy of hustle and the calm, powerful, and effective energy of inspired action. Hustle culture is born from a frequency of lack. It is rooted in the belief that there's not enough, and I have to force it to happen. It's the energy of pushing, striving, and struggling. It's draining, unsustainable, and often produces mediocre results because it's a broadcast of desperation. When you act from this place, you are fighting against the current of the universe. Inspired action, on the other hand, is born from a frequency of abundance and alignment. It is the natural unfolding of your resonant state into the physical world. It feels less like a struggle and more like a dance. It's the energy of allowing, of flow, of co-creation. An inspired action feels light, exciting, and often appears as a sudden, clear impulse or a creative idea that just pops into your head. It is the universe meeting you halfway, presenting you with the next logical step on your path. Consider the physics of a river. Hustle is trying to swim upstream. It takes enormous effort and you make very little progress. Inspired action is getting in a canoe and paddling gently with the current. The same amount of effort takes you miles further, with ease and grace. So how do you distinguish between a frantic impulse from the ego and a true inspired action from your higher consciousness? You check in with your body, your internal barometer. An action born of hustle and fear usually feels contractive. There's a tightness in the chest, a sense of urgency and panic. It's accompanied by thoughts like, I have to do this or else, or if I don't do this right now, I'll miss out. An inspired action feels expansive. It brings a sense of calm excitement, of rightness, of clarity. Even if the action itself is bold or requires courage, the underlying energy is one of peace and alignment. It's accompanied by a feeling of, this just feels like the next right thing to do. Let me share a story to illustrate. I remember a time early in my own journey when I was trying to build this very channel. I was in hustle mode. I believed I had to post a new video every single day. I was exhausted, my creativity was suffering, and the channel's growth was slow. My actions were born from a fear of irrelevance. One morning, after my resonance ritual, I felt a deep sense of peace instead of the usual panic. And in that quiet space, a very clear, calm thought arose. Stop, rest, and write the one piece you are most inspired to write, no matter how long it takes. My ego screamed in terror. You'll lose momentum. The algorithm will punish you. But the feeling of the impulse was so calm, so expansive, that I chose to trust it. I took a week off from posting. I went for long walks. And I wrote the script for what would become one of my most successful and impactful audiobooks. That was an inspired action. It came from a place of trust, not fear. It produced a result far greater than weeks of frantic, low-resonance hustling ever could have. Your daily resonance ritual is what creates the fertile silence for these inspired actions to arise. When you are constantly in a state of stress and hustle, your energetic field is too noisy. You can't hear the subtle whispers of intuition. But when you cultivate a state of calm, resonant alignment each morning, you become a clear receiver for guidance. Your only job, then, is to trust these impulses when they arrive, and to act on them without hesitation. This might mean sending an email you suddenly feel compelled to send. It might mean taking a different route home from work and bumping into an old colleague with a new opportunity. It might mean finally signing up for that course you've been thinking about. Or like in my case, it might mean doing less. It might mean resting, allowing the space for a bigger, better idea to be born. Trust is the currency of flow. You must trust that when you are in resonance, the right actions will be presented to you at the right time. You do not need to have the entire 10-step plan figured out. You only need to be present and willing to take the next single inspired step. This is the true partnership between the spiritual and the material. You align your energy. You listen for the inspired impulse. You take the physical action. You then observe the feedback from the universe, recalibrate your energy, and listen for the next inspired step. This is not passivity. It is a state of active, engaged, and powerful co-creation. You are no longer a slave to struggle. You are a master of flow. You are the alchemist, directing your energy with precision and allowing the universe to handle the magnificent, miraculous details. Chapter 7. The Feedback Loop of Creation. Shaping your reality through conscious observation as you begin to align your energy and take inspired action. You will start to notice changes in your outer world. These are not coincidences. They are the first reflections of your new resonance. Understanding how to interpret and interact with this feedback is a critical skill for the modern alchemist. Your reality operates as a perfect, instantaneous feedback loop. What you broadcast energetically, the universe reflects back to you as experience. This reflection then informs your next energetic broadcast. This is the continuous cycle of creation. The problem for most people is that this loop runs on autopilot, driven by subconscious programming and reactive emotions. When something bad happens, the automatic reaction is to broadcast a low-frequency emotion, fear, anger, disappointment. This low-frequency broadcast then instructs the universe to deliver another experience that matches it, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of negative creation. We call this a string of bad luck. It is not luck. It is a resonant loop. The conscious alchemist learns to interrupt this pattern. They learn to manage their focus and choose their response, thereby taking control of the feedback loop. This is where the wisdom of quantum physics provides a stunningly practical metaphor. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists discovered that particles of energy behave differently when they are being observed. The very act of observation, of placing conscious attention on something, influences its behavior and outcome. This is known as the observer effect. Your consciousness is the observer. The quantum field of infinite possibility is the particle. Where you place your focus determines which possibilities collapse into your experienced reality. When you focus on what is wrong, on what is missing, on the lack in your life, you are, through the act of observation, instructing the universe to create more of it for you. You are hardening the reality of lack when you deliberately and consistently place your focus on what is working, on what you are grateful for, on the evidence of abundance, no matter how small. You are instructing the universe to create more of that. You are hardening the reality of abundance. This is why step 4 of our daily ritual, looking for evidence of abundance, is so critical. It is the practical application of the observer effect. Let's use a tangible example. Imagine you are trying to attract more clients. You send out 5 proposals. 4 are rejected and 1 is accepted. The unconscious creator focuses on the 4 rejections. They feel the sting of failure. Their energetic broadcast becomes one of disappointment and doubt. See, this is so hard. Nothing ever works out for me. By observing and energizing the reality of rejection, they are programming the feedback loop to deliver more rejection in the future. The conscious alchemist. The abundance alchemist receives the same results but chooses a different focus. They see the one acceptance as powerful, positive feedback. They celebrate it. They feel the thrill of success. They say, "Look, it's working. I'm attracting clients." They place their conscious, feeling-filled attention on the evidence of success. By observing and energizing the reality of acceptance, they are programming the feedback loop to deliver more acceptance in the future. The external events were identical. The internal response, the observation, and the resulting energetic broadcast was completely different, leading to two entirely different future timelines. This is not about denying reality or pretending the rejections didn't happen. It is about making a conscious, strategic choice about where you invest your most precious resource, your focused attention. What you appreciate appreciates. What you focus on expands. I want you to begin to view your life as a grand, energetic feedback system. Everything is data. Nothing is personal. If you experience a financial setback, do not view it as a punishment or a failure. View it as a piece of feedback. Ask yourself, what was my energetic state leading up to this? What was I broadcasting? Perhaps you are in a state of fear or worry. The setback is simply the universe perfectly reflecting that broadcast back to you. It's not a judgment, it's a diagnosis. It is the system telling you that your frequency is out of alignment with your desired outcome. With this neutral, data-driven perspective, there is no room for despair. There is only room for recalibration. You thank the experience for the information it has provided. You go back to your inner work. You soothe the fear. You recalibrate your frequency back to trust and peace. You take the next inspired action from this new, higher state of resonance. This is how you master the game of creation. You stop being a passive victim of the feedback loop, and you become its conscious, empowered operator. So let me ask you, as you reflect on your own life, what have you been observing most? Have you been focusing on the closed doors, or the one that just creaked open? Have you been watering the weeds of your problems, or the seeds of your possibilities? The power to shift your entire financial reality lies in the answer to that question. Choose to be the observer who seeks, acknowledges, and celebrates every shred of evidence that you are abundant, that you are supported, and that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your reality is created. Chapter 8, The Quantum Leap. Becoming the living embodiment of wealth. We have journeyed through the foundational laws of resonance. We have learned to identify our frequency, to calibrate our emotional state, to clear the blocks of unworthiness, to ground our practice in daily ritual, to act from inspiration, and to consciously manage the feedback loop of creation. We now arrive at the final stage of the alchemical great work. This is the stage of integration, of embodiment. It is the point where you no longer need to do the techniques because you have become the frequency. Abundance is no longer something you are trying to attract. It is the natural expression of who you are. This is the quantum leap. A quantum leap is not a slow, linear progression. It is a sudden, non-linear shift to a completely new state of being. It occurs when your new high-frequency resonance becomes so stable, so dominant, that it is no longer an effort to maintain it. It is simply your default state. It is your home, When you reach this state of embodiment, manifestation becomes effortless and instantaneous. The time lag between your desire and its physical appearance collapses because there is no longer a vibrational gap between you and what you desire. You are one and the same energy. So what does it mean to embody wealth? It means your relationship with money is one of complete peace. You are not attached to it, nor do you repel it. You see it as a beautiful flowing energy that you are a worthy steward of. You trust in its constant circulation. It means you make financial decisions not from a place of fear or scarcity, but from a place of intuitive alignment and expansive trust. You know on a cellular level that you are always provided for. It means your sense of self-worth is completely decoupled from your net worth. You feel infinitely valuable, whether your bank account has $1,000 or $1 million in it. This very detachment is what allows money to flow to you so freely, because the universe is no longer responding to a needy, grasping energy. This state of being is the ultimate goal. So how do we make that final leap? The key is to begin living as if. This is not faking it till you make it. That is a performance for others. This is feeling it until you become it. This is an inner reality that you cultivate for yourself. You begin to ask yourself throughout the day, how would the abundant version of me handle this situation? What would the wealthy version of me be thinking and feeling right now? When an unexpected bill arrives, you might consciously choose to react as if you have more than enough money in the bank to cover it easily. You would feel a sense of calm, of, okay, let's take care of this, rather than panic. By choosing this response, you are broadcasting the frequency of the reality you wish to create, even before it has fully materialized. You are acting from your future, not your past. I remember speaking with a truly masterful creator, an older woman who had built an incredible life of freedom and joy. I asked her for her greatest secret. She smiled and said, I decided who I wanted to be, and then I simply started being her. I stopped waiting for my circumstances to give me permission to feel wealthy. I gave myself the permission, and the circumstances had no choice but to rearrange themselves around my decision. This is the ultimate act of sovereign creation. It is the declaration that your inner state is the cause and your outer world is the effect. Period. No negotiation. This does not mean being irresponsible. It does not mean spending money you don't have. That is an action of panic, not of true abundance. The as-if principle is primarily an internal practice. It is about the energy you bring to your current circumstances. You can wash your dishes as if you are a millionaire who simply enjoys the meditative act of washing dishes. You can go for a walk in a public park and feel the same sense of peace and ownership as if it were your own private estate. You are extracting the feeling of abundance from your present reality. And as you do, you become a magnet for more experiences that match that feeling. This journey of mastering energetic resonance is the most profound and worthwhile journey you can undertake. It is the path of self-mastery. It will not only transform your finances, it will transform every area of your life. Your relationships, your health, your sense of purpose, all of these are subject to the same universal laws. As you stand at the threshold of this new way of being, I invite you to answer one final question in your heart. You can even share your answer in the comments below, to declare your intention to the universe and to this community. The question is this: who is the person you become when all limitations are removed? Feel into that version of you, the calm, powerful, generous, free, and fully expressed version of you. That person is not a distant dream. It is a resonant reality waiting for you to tune into it. It is the gold that has been waiting within you all along. Outro, the Alchemist's promise. Your journey begins. Now we have traveled far on this journey together. We began by understanding the resonance gap, the space between our desires and our reality. We dismantled the myth of mere positive thinking and uncovered the quantum nature of abundance. We learned to listen to our bodies as barometers of our vibration, and we practiced the subtle art of emotional calibration. We walked through the alchemical fires of forgiveness to dissolve the blocks of unworthiness. We established the sacred practice of a daily resonance ritual, learned to act from the effortless power of inspired flow, and took command of the feedback loop of creation. And now we stand at the final gate, embodiment, the transformation from doing into being. The path has been laid out before you. The principles have been illuminated. But the great work of alchemy is not completed by listening. It is completed by living. The promise of this work is not just a larger bank account. It is a life of profound peace, of unshakable inner security, and the freedom to express your soul's purpose without constraint. It is the realization that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your reality, armed with the most powerful tool in the universe, your own conscious, focused energy. Your journey does not end here. It is truly just beginning. To continue your immersion into these foundational principles, on the left of your screen, you will find our complete playlist, The Foundations of Abundance. Let it be your guide. And on the right, you will find a video the universe has selected specifically for your journey next. Trust the guidance. Let it be the perfect next step on your path. Before you go, remember the greatest alchemical truth. Abundance is not something you acquire. It is something you become. Continue to do the inner work, and the outer world will have no choice but to transform before your very eyes. This is Elias Vance, reminding you, the greatest wealth you will ever own is the knowledge of who you truly are.